Hello, ladies and gentlemen, the people that are on YouTube and don't have the time to join on Twitch. That is completely cool. I don't judge you. Just you're not gonna get invited to my dinner party. Neither are the people in Twitch, so it doesn't make a difference. We are here today with G2 Esports versus Mad Lions. Let's just jump right into it. Boom. Look at Mehdi and Vedi. How good looking are these guys, man? Big smurfs. Okay, let's jump to the draft. I've already seen this game, so we're just gonna take a look at what I missed, what we indeed looked at, and so forth. Okay, so let's start here with the draft Rooney. I'm gonna pull my face up here, make myself smaller, no big ego, big head, forehead. Kaiser Sose, Braun. What a shirt, damn, indeed. Okay, so from a draft perspective, they already swapped champs, no? No, they didn't. Mickey. No sound on vid. Yeah, no sound on vid because we don't want sound on vid. Okay, let's begin with the draft. So, Pantheon ban, I think, is troll. I think this champion is trash, but the only reason people are banning it is because I think people are just afraid of the global power. You know, this forces you to play in a different way, and G2 as a team struggled against Twisted Fate in the past. So that's like the mind here. I think most of the teams are banning Pantheon, just afraid of the ult. I think it's a very dog shit champion. So no good team is going to look to practice this, I think. It's a cheese pick. Irelia, I think, is the same way. I think Irelia can become kind of toasty in the sense that she can win every matchup, lose every matchup. She kind of lives and dies by the game. So this is this is a good ban for a good team to do onto a team that is worse, right? Rumble, I respect this ban. I think it's a good ban. I think on red side it can be very dangerous. It can go mid, it can go top. It's a good flex. If you pick it on blue, you see where it goes, and there's some big counters to Rumble, so that's important. So I think most of the time we will see Rumble blue side ban. Here it's very important to note that there's no Lucian ban, but no Lucian pick. Perks is a very big Lucian player, but he avoided it here. So that's something to highlight here. They first pick Kiana. Usually here what we would see is a lot of teams would look to pick Lucian, so that's a big surprise. No Lucian. Aphelios Prio, I think this is wrong too. I think Senna is much more OP. I think this is number 1 here. This is number 2. So I think Aphelios Prio is really wrong. People are just looking to play Aphelios together with Braum because you can apply the stacks super hard and so forth. I mean, Irelia stomps Kiana, no? Yeah, well, Irelia stomps a lot of matchups, but it's just jungle reliance. She needs to go all in. The way she plays is very, very predictable. I think it's terrible. I think Duke is troll going from Mad Lions to Vitality, leaving one of EU's top organizations to one of EU's worst. How is Vitality one of the EU's worst? What are you talking about, man? You're full of shit, man. Nevertheless, I think Senna is super OP. Lee's lock-in so early, I don't like it too much, especially when enemy showed Lee. I don't think there is some specific gain to this. This is the second rotation. This is, of course, the fourth. This is the third, and this is first. So this is strange to me because you reveal already where Kiana's going, so I don't like it too much, picking Elise second. Vitality is a mess right now, bro, but that has nothing to do with organization. Like, what does that have to do with organization? So just... I was the coach of Vitality, and honestly, we will see. We will see if they will regret firing me. Nevertheless, we continue. Second wave ban, Trash and Leblanc. This is also kind of surprising, considering like Trash. I don't think Trash ban matters too much. I don't think. I think if anything, it's helping the Braum that Mad Lions already want to pick. So I think this is a useless ban. LeBlanc ban I think is good because LeBlanc is quite good into Kiana. Yeah. It's quite good into Kiana. So with that being said, LeBlanc right here is a good ban. Trash ban, I think, is pretty pointless. You're planning to pick Nautilus most likely. You're planning to pick, maybe they're planning to pick Braum. But here, I think, in general, I think Mad Lions have the easiest draft to execute. Definitely. I think they have Engage. They have decent matchups everywhere. They have good jungle matchup. I didn't like G2's draft beyond the fact that they have Senna. Of course, G2, they won this game, and I think the big reason why they won is because they are just so much better at later parts in the game. But the draft is honestly very unintuitive. Aatrox and Elise can fight together, and Elise together with Kiana. There's a lot of options here for some good 2v2s, but that was kind of lacking. And this has been a trend for G2 for the longest time and forever. But the simplicity of Mad Lions draft here, Mordecai is very strong in fights, Ornn very strong in fights, Braum good scaling with the Aphelios, they're not going to get punished so hard in lane. Lee Sin has great 2v2 with Morde and great 2v2 with Ornn. So I think this is a very, very well conjured draft with very little weaknesses. And on this side, you have to do some crazy, crazy stuff in order to win the game with this, you know. Definitely, you need to do some crazy stuff to win this game with this. So, with that being said, we continue. Jump into the game. I think the first impactful move that we saw was the TP back from Caps, actually getting quite the big CS lead. I think that was very, very impactful. We continue. Let's just fast forward here. Macintosh doing the interview. Okay, let's move my head onto a more convenient location. Goodbye, Mad Lions. I think it just makes more sense for me to be on Mad Lions side, because I think, not that I'm on their side per se, but I think it makes more sense, because I think G2's reactions are way more fun. Okay, I'm gonna put my own hat here. Who cares? We'll just put it here. Mordecai is pretty OP in pro play. It's you're wrong there. Okay, Mad Lions going for the level 1 invade naturally with Braum, of course. They get the splitteroo. I don't recall what happened to Jankos here if he got the enemy red, but Lee is crossing now, and this is a big deal. A very good start for Mad Lions. They use the fact that level 1 is quite strong. I think if G2 was ready for this, they could definitely fight. And I think they just got caught heavily off guard. And we saw in the game that G2 played the next day that they went all out on the level 1. So definitely got caught off guard by this level 1. Jankos gets kind of screwed. What you want to do with Elise most of the time is just double buff Gromp and then get level 3 in action. So it's kind of weird here that Jankos didn't start on red side to path into top. Because I think Ornn and Kiana should be the target. I think Elise should look to impact the Ornn and the Mordecai as much as possible. If you don't manage to do that, you're going to be in trouble. Jankos no red buff here, and his bottom lane is in good position to fight. I think here, if G2's bot lane did commit to the play together with Jankos, this Jankos flash was a really troll. It didn't really do anything. The only reason Shadow cannot fight here is because what's it called? Shadow cannot fight here because of course, Mickey's position and Cap's position. So Jankos got the blue. It was nice. Very, very nice. A good recovery from the fact that he lost red and all. Aatrox, good matchup into Ornn, but Ornn has a strong 2v2. Of course, he goes, we see Grasp, we see Unsealed Spellbook. When you go Spellbook, the level 6 all-in is very strong from Ornn. His ult is very powerful, and that's the whole idea. I think diving top is not an option here for Jankos, so I think he's wasting a bit of time. He's walking around the corner, spotting if Lee is around, but he has sweeper, so he has nowhere to put. But diving top is not a thing, so that's just it. Shadow now hovering around mid lane. I think this is a good move considering from Mad Lion's position they're completely blind and Humanoid really needs to push this wave in. Also Kiana and Elise are very deadly, so good hover here from Shadow. I think if Elise committed to a gank into mid lane, then it would be a disaster. A disaster indeed. You saw the movement, Shadow, it just went straight into mid. Always in melee matchups specifically, you have to take a risk when you're pushing in those waves. Mordekaiser needed to make the wave bounce. The tricky part here, why Mad Lion's composition is so good, is Elise and Kiana really want to work that 2v2. Mordekaiser in mid lane, when he's level 6, is going to be able to stall enough time for Lee Sin to always join, and then I think Mad Lions will win that 2v2. Top side as well, I think the ults are just more powerful for Mad Lions, and at the moment Lee Sin reaches level 6, and of course, what's it called? When Lee Sin reaches level 6 and Ornn's level 6, then the 2v2 top is just stronger. So this is the difficulty that G2 have to deal with. This is very good for G2. They TP'd back and the wave position was goddamn awful for G2. It is impressive that they managed to control everything so well in the position where Elise is on top side, controlling top side. Elise was constantly in fog of war, and G2 here, the first 5 minutes of the game, pressured super much. Shadow had to react to mid lane, and G2 had honestly full control after what could be considered a rough start because Elise didn't get red buff. Recovered the blue, full control, bottom could push, and then create an advantage here with the TP back of Senna. But then the strange part here is after we keep the wave frozen here, Caps is looking to base, of course. And it's weird because even though they managed to chunk Mad Lion's bot lane here big time, the base is still ideal for Aphelios. Aphelios does indeed get a BF sword into pickaxe, and Senna's walking back to lane now with boots. So even though the wave is in such a good position bottom in terms of CS and the CS loss here for Mad Lions, I think they are very happy. This could be a good opportunity for Mad Lions to just do Drake. They have such a big wave stacking on bottom. And I think definitely if you look to push in the bottom wave, make sure that Braum and Kazi don't fall behind on XP and then take control of the river. It's ideal. It's definitely ideal. Because look at the bottom wave. It's just that Mad Lions are wasting too much time here in mid lane. I think the pathing they should have chosen was to look to make the wave bottom crash and then go. Because Kazi here lost too much. Kaiser also lost way too much. They lost the full wave for going through mid lane, and I think it's just better to go through bottom 3 because they will win the 3v3 with the bigger wave anyway. Okay, they get the wave in, and this is, you know, prime time position to take Cloud. There's no reason not to Cloud. There is so many waves into the tower, and Aatrox has TP'd into topside. So with that being said, I think this could have been a good opportunity to do Cloud Drake, but they didn't. I think maybe if we consider the situation here, I think what you can respect is the fact that Kiana is very powerful in these fights. I imagine a situation where Humanoid just grasps onto the first target that tries to enter. I think Elise is very weak, and the wave bottom is so big, I think this could be an opportunity to do Drake. Okay, we move on. We had some fighting on the bottom sides, and now I think G2 are the ones looking towards the Dretsky. They are recontrolling the river and clearing all the pink wards that Mad Lions placed before. Good moves. This is also kind of weird because Wunder is playing as if you know, Shadow's not around here, but it's very natural that he should be, and Wunder flashed kind of weird. I think his flash is quite terrible. Here as well, I think he can just walk away, you know. After you flash the Ornn ult, I think you can just walk away, but I think Wunder was going for some highlight reel play here. So, you know, God bless him. but there is no highlight reel play to be found here. Instead, he got smacked on the noodle, lost his flash, lost everything. And I honestly don't know what happened here bottom, because we didn't get to see it. We didn't get to see it at all, and that's it, you know. I don't know what happened here on bottom. Because what is Mickey doing? What is Mickey X doing here? He's just in them. He's in them, and he just doesn't know how Aphelios works. So what? Because he just got popped, you know, because of the weapons that Aphelios has. You know, the melee weapon. So this is Giga Troll. Caps flashes. Yangos goes in, but Yangos is in danger. Holy, what a disaster. What a disaster. What a goddamn disaster. Imagine you playing top lane, you get ganked by enemy Lee, and then you look your bot, they are dying 3v2. So with that in mind, you know, it's definitely a bad start. You know, definitely a bad start. It's a goddamn disaster. Goddamn disaster. I think if anything, there was a window there to punish Mordekaiser when Shadow was hovering. We see this again. Wunder should not try for the 2v2. The Ignite is ticking and he's taking too much damage. We will see. We will see. Okay. And let's continue. Because now the map is in such a terrible state for G2 that they need to look for creative plays to find ways to crack Mad Lions. Because 2v2 they lose bot, 3v3 they lose bot, 2v2 mid lane they lose, 2v2 top lane they also lose. So everything here is in favor of Mad Lions, and this was also crazy. Like Mad Lions bot lane gets a kill 2v4, like Perks is on bottom side of the map and he's sacrificing so much. Because see, Perks is running around here, you know, he was staying now in bottom for forever. He went all the way from bot into here, and it's a disaster on many accounts. You know, they're trying to break the game. And now Wunder on top of that dies again because Lee Sin was not showing during this entire time, and he gets cracked in the head. And if it was any other team but G2, then this game was monster over. My Lions have better draft, better conditions to win, they're ahead, and you know, most of the time Elises will be goddamn useless, and Ornn being even in such a matchup is crazy, because Conqueror doesn't give the same amount of penetration. Aatrox decided to tech into Caulfield's Warhammers, the back cleavers later, so it is over. By every stretch of the imagination here on paper, this is like, you know, you're down a queen, you know, if we compare it to chess, you're down a queen here, and Mad Lions found a way to throw it. But G2 are very, very difficult and tricky when it comes to games like this. Games in general, where they are very good at identifying how they need to win the game. Kazi flashed into the wall. He didn't flash into the wall. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. So Mad Lions got the Herald, used it on top. Top tower almost down. Elise cannot match. You know, Elise in this type of game, if you're jungling and you are G2, you're trying to create something on the other side of the map. But Ornn is too powerful to dive. Like Ornn is super powerful. If you compare Ornn to Aatrox is super difficult. Here, Humanoid is inting, and I think this is a big problem of Mad Lions, and also with Humanoid in general. Like, the guy just straight up ints. He runs it freaking down. Because here, there is no reason to walk in. Your support and AD carry is showing on top tower, getting first turret. Look at these guys. They're taking first tower, and G2's bot lane is not showing. G2's bot lane is coming in from this angle, and Humanoid is in this space. So this is incredibly, incredibly troll. This is incredibly troll. Really, really troll. Really, really troll. This is a reportable offense. This is disgusting. This is really, really, wow. I think Humanoid is going to be the death of this team, because he did exactly the same in Splice. Exactly the same in Splice. Absolutely no awareness at all. And this is going to be a big problem. Humanoid needs to address this, otherwise I think he should get replaced. So okay, here it begins. Humanoid dying when his bot lane is taking free top tower and the enemy bot lane is giving up and rotating into mid. It's very troll. But you can see G2's movements, you know, they're trying to always break the patterns of how the game is expected to be played. They're trying to find roams with, of course, perks. He's been sacrificing a lot of CS. And, Cookie, what are you doing, man? Cookie, there's nothing in my bag. Cookie. Cookie. Here I am, once again, hinting on a side lane. Okay, well, first and foremost, let's consider this Drake. So here, I don't think it's correct when you are this far ahead to ever trade anything. So Mad Lions, just because they are committing so heavily into this Drake, I think it's better to be in a position where you take mid prio, basically you take mid prio, one more wave, and then you hover into topside. Make sure that Morde catches all of this, and then you start Drake while Lee Sin is blind. Hey Yamato, great to have you on the LEC casting analyst team. I think you're perfect fit for them. Wishing you best luck, whether it will be pursuing your career as an analyst or coming back to coaching. I was wondering if tanky junglers can come back to the game. If junglers so behind the XP and gold post 15, it can't make anything happen in the early game. A lot of games are really slow. I don't know. Yeah, just play some Zac Sejuani. That's the way. That's definitely the way. Okay, so the reason this is bad is because this big wave is crashing. So, of course, if Mad Lions commit to this, Mordekaiser should not stay into the turret, because the move that G2 naturally will make is to hover into topside. They want to play away from Mad Lions as much as possible. They are 3k gold behind, right? So, with this in mind, this is a terrible move. This is a reportable offense. Sorry, that's an old document with my tier list. Okay, let's note this time, 21:50. Let's note the time before as well. Mordekaiser inting. We're just making notes for the quick review, you know, the quick review. Early game, bad G2. Bad G2. Okay. So G2 finding an opportunity, kill Humanoid again. They are playing a game of spot the enter, and they found him. And it's working. All of the things that Mad Lions are doing now in terms of hitting the turret and finding leads here on the other side of the map are things they could have accomplished without Humanoid dying. So that's why he's inting. He's not dying for a cause. Wunder, with the TP from behind, it was very, very nice and clean. You know, finds an angle. I'm trying to look where he TP'd from. No, he didn't even TP. He just jogged. So here's the difference, right? Wunder knows he's in danger on the bottom tower, knows he could potentially get dove. He actually does something with his time. He doesn't stay under the turret and die. And then here, Mad Lions, they did overcommit, and I think there is an issue with the fact that Shadow is showing. So, with that in mind, if Shadow was not in the picture, if Shadow was miss, then all of a sudden this play that would be happening here on top side would be much harder. I mean, in mid, if Humanoid didn't die, all of a sudden this mid push would be really good. Because this is the TP, right? We have a TP right here. If it wasn't for this shit, it would have been amazing. And all of a sudden mid tower could break, bottom tower could break, Shadow should stay in fog, and then Humanoid should stay in fog. He should be going in here, right? And then it would be a disaster. Instead, the Wunder roams into mid lane, Caps shows up, Glacial Augment is really busted, boom, flash from Kazi right into the Aatrox, very optimistic. But yeah, it doesn't work. Wunder with the Triumph flash, and boom. Good punish, good punish. I thought Aatrox TP'd actually. And then here it continues, Kazi is dead, Shadow, does he die? I can't remember if he dies. Nice flash, okay. Mickey dies, right? I think Mickey dies. Okay. Mickey dirty in there. Why do you think they were playing early badly? Boredom, ego? No, I think they are just bad early. I think their draft is not so good, and I think they are just bad early game. They've had bad early game for the longest time in forever. The beauty of G2 is how they manage to always pressure the team. If the enemy team is making macro mistakes, they punish. We saw it multiple times in this game already. This Rift Herald is very difficult for G2 to contest, but you can see how they're trying to use bushes in order to poke as much as possible, thin out the enemy as much as possible, and set up for a fight that shouldn't exist. That's how you have to play it. At the point G2 is at, if they want to win a fight, then Mad Lions need to fuck up. How do you force that fuck up? You make sure you're there when the enemy is face checking bushes, and you poke. And that's it. Shadow no flash from before. Oh. Wait. I can't remember who got this. Oh, yeah. Jankos dies for this. He tries to go for Shadow, but he couldn't, and then flashes on the Rift. Okay. It's also rough that you have two champions that want to stack lethality, and the enemy has a full tank team. The silly part about this is that everyone is buying Mercury when Ninja Tabi would counter the whole enemy team almost. But being bad is like saying something is nice. What would you do to make them not suck early? I think they need to draft better, and I think they need to work on their planning. I think they need to work on their level 1. I think they need to work on how they execute the mid 2v2, make sure they have a stronger mid 2v2. And I think this is where most of their issues stem, because their mid to late game is still by far the best. Still highlighted they're the best. This game was great and highlighted MAD as a top 3 contender, but also has shown that they are still rookies. Well, I think Humanoid, honestly, is by far the worst performer on Mad Lions. By far. This is the stone cold... I don't know if this was Perks trolling or something. I really didn't get this when I was watching this. But obviously Kazi is in trouble. Kazi is in a bad spot. This is very bad, and this pink ward placement is absolutely beautiful. In order to make it as difficult for Mad Lions to pick up this Drake, you need to make sure that you control this space. This area, G2 will win a fight, right? Right here, G2 will always win a fight if they enter here. There's too much space to work with, right? Too much space. They make sure there's no vision here, which gives Kiana the entry. I'm just gonna close the door because my girlfriend is on a call, I think. so this looked fucking hilarious because it was fucking good. It's definitely good. With Humanoid ulting Jankos, Jankos has his repel and then Humanoid dies again. So there's definitely a big chunk of gold here. And if I remember correctly, G2 also picked up Midsarat and Dretsky. So that's a big deal. Very big deal. Very big deal. Drake. Terrible. Terrible. Django just said that flash after Q of Burks was misclicked. That's why of his brain lag before the ult. Well, it would look cool. It looked cool. It looked really cool. He punished the rotation of Mad Lions and he one-shotted Karzi. So it's hilarious. Because I don't think anyone has the instinct to look at the enemy and wait. Do you think Humanoid is just bad or totally out of that being the high player on the team? I think just bad, honestly. It's just, I think he's good on some champions, but I'm not sold on the hype. And I think maybe I drank the Kool-Aid of some people. Okay. That's the Drake. Let's see. I can't remember if Mad Lions actually gets a punish. Humanoid with the TP, he pulls the glove, and of course Mickey dies. It's not Drake if Mickey doesn't die. And then what happened to Karzi? Oh. Humanoid tweeted after the game that was his first time Mordekaiser. Well, it was first time on Summoner's Rift. He just did plain dumb shit. It had nothing to do with the champion. I don't care if he's played disgustingly bad on Mordekaiser, but he's making decisions that were just plain garbage. It has nothing to do with the champion. And it disgusts me even further that he's willing to go on Twitter and make excuses. It's awful. Awful. So what the hell happened here? So it's the W damage, and then Duskblade, W of Elise and Q, and then he just gets popped, man. He just disappears. Duskblade is just too busted. It's just the usage of Duskblade on Caps is crazy. The fact that he gets out of this as well is just redonkulous. Look at that, man. Look at Caps' movement. Jesus. This is absolutely insane. You can't criticize Humanoid while having Jizuki as main mid lane for so long. Jizuki is 50 times better than Humanoid. And I think people are giving him way too much shit for last year. Because there were fucking moments where he destroyed some of the best players in the league. So it's the memory of some people, man. It's crazy. Very crazy. Very bad. People have very bad memory. Senna's Q and Elise W dealt 3 halves of Aphelios HP. No. It was Elise W, Elise Q, Duskblade, Luden Zeko from Elise, the jungle item. And it's also the passive, because you get the soul, and also W. Yeah, he just runs it down and overextends. Exactly. Who cares about his playtime on Morta? Has nothing to do with it. I don't care if he played 50 games or more, the 1 game or more, his decision making is just trash. And here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go again. This has anything to do with Mordekaiser? Being on second tier tower of enemy when your whole team bases? You never played against Mordekaiser? You don't know what items to build? Pro to build? Pro to build? Pro to build. Ah. Look at that perks, man. I want to hear what Medivedi say, man. What do Medivedi say? Okay. It looked like he was just dabbing on them, man. It's cool. It's cool. Humanoid team was in base and he was punching tier 2 tower. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. So now we went from a state in the game where G2 were so monster behind, and now they recovered completely. Can you say why no one went lethality on MF over the past days? Because it sucks. Lethality is good when you can use the item active, like Duskblade in this case. Like Kiana have stealth, Senna have stealth, and then Senna also applies Duskblade with Q. We have no sound from video because I don't want to listen to the casters when I'm reviewing. It's not the purpose of this. If you want to go listen to the casters, you can go listen to the casters. Crit items are just better right now, and even MF's ult can crit, so. So here, honestly, G2 have no business of walking here. This is not good space. Usually the trickiest part of contesting this turret is contesting this push against Braum. Against Braum is just too difficult, and Wonder face checking here. We can see Kiana is first in comparison to Morde. Morde has no ult. But let's see this. What happens? What does Mickey do? He queues in, and then he's in deep, and Wonder has to flash out. And the flash out is too late. And then Karzi throws the most useless ult. So this ult only heals him and does no damage. I don't know what kind of weapons he had. I think here he was almost in position to, you know, snipe everyone. He had sniper and the, you know, he could do some crazy shit. Isn't crit better against tanks? Well, yeah, lethality sucks against tanks. Crit is just better. It's just a better itemization path, and it's a big reason why MF is good now. I melt tanks with MF lethality, crit not so much. It's just mathematically wrong what you're saying. So you should lay off at the bong and don't take so many hits. Lethality is not for killing tanks. Okay, let's continue. This is G2 taking bad decision to fight. Yeah, lethality does scale with level. G2 would never take fights they shouldn't. What do you mean? There are many fights they're not taking that they shouldn't be taking. That's like something that just can't be proven. Let's take a look here. Mad Lions prepping Nash. They're pretty decent Nash. Or G2 Fnatic, OG top 3 in that order. I think OG is better than Fnatic. I think OG is the best team in Europe right now. All the guys with Riley Scepter but no mask, yeah. It's really troll. Leandre is such a OP item, man. Leandre Riley is so busted and Nash's Tooth is so busted on this champion, so I don't think there's a reason to ever go anything else. So Mad Lions, you know, they're doing the right moves in terms of how they are preparing vision and how they're setting up on the map and how they're positioning before objectives, but G2 is just next level. Like, this next fight is really a thing of beauty. I think the biggest mistake here from Mad Lions is that they are getting gigabaited. So Perk's ultimate is awful. Very good position here from Perks. The ult is very bad, as you can see. They are keeping this line. Here is always the space that G2 want to fight in. Here, this is the best area for G2 to fight in. There's a lot of space to work with. And definitely this is prime time position. If G2 try to pass here, this is where they can get killed super easily. Because this is the best position for Ornn to fight in, right? The enemy is funneling through here. Ornn is super happy. Super happy. But in this area, with Infernal Soul and all, no wall and the space and the pink ward, Mad Lions are fighting in a space where they don't have vision. So this is the biggest issue here, right? Biggest issue. We continue. This team fight, Perks whiffs his ultimate completely. Of course, it's not that great. Perks gets chased, and here is where the indecisiveness starts. They're not going to catch up to Perks. So Perks is baiting them around, and Mad Lions is just wasting time here. Now, after the ultimate, Perks most of the time is already out, right? After he's out, the forcing should definitely be happening here. And I think if anything, if you want to play this in any way, then you should let Braum mark Perks. Basically, Braum marks Perks and punches and always keeps vision of Perks. And then the moment Perks comes, he can always defend Kazi from the failures can be protected from the Kiana. So I think the move here is Braum continues here, Kazi moves into here, and then they force all in here. But let's see now what happened. So here's the Ornn ult, and as you can see, you know, no follow-up. Ornn ult is wasted, completely wasted. Don't you think Kiana still much damage from QE and Ignite? Yeah, she does. That's why Braum needs to mark her. Just Braum follow her. And then if Braum, the moment Kiana commits, he can just WE and defend with the shield. It's just that here they are wasting a lot of big tools, and I think that G2 actually committed. I mean, later Perks was able to one-shot Kazi without R. Well, he didn't get one-shotted alone. And on top of that, Braum was making mistakes. Because here Kaiser played this really bad. You're missing completely what I'm saying. Braum needs to mark Kiana. That's it. Braum needs to mark Kiana, and the Ornn ult needs more value. What do you think of the level of LCS we saw yesterday? It's terrible. Very bad. Very bad. The drafting was beyond terrible. So let's begin here. Q in. Kaiser goes in. I don't think it's good for Kaiser to go in. Aatrox dies. What is Humanoid doing here? He got popped. Humanoid has ult on, okay? Humanoid has ult. Humanoid has ult. Right here. Ult Mickey. Be good, you know? Here. Kazi is... Humanoid. Just ult Mickey X. Kill him. Get a kill. Get someone off the board. Imagine he ulted Nautilus there, and then Elise got popped the way she did. Cause here, look at Elise. She's got demolished. You know, she's got demolished by the ult of Aphelios and Mordekaiser combo. Well, Mordekaiser would combo on Nautilus, and then probably Elise wouldn't die, but it's definitely better than to get one-shotted. So let's take a look now. After this happened, Mordekaiser died with ult up, Nautilus ult lands, and right now the guy who got so this was basic attack, Q from Aatrox, and Perks just outplaying the shit out of them. So we can follow each player here. Look at Kaiser, yeah? So he W'd, he's blocking absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. This Braum was not a player in this fight. This Braum was just not a player in this fight. Braum was not a player, Mordekaiser was not a player, and G2 punished wonderfully. Ornult was used very poorly. Perks kept an eye, and very, very good patience. Nautilus ult zones. It's very good because here the danger is that Kazi is punching them while they are punching Braum, and they are doing chip damage here. Wunder's punching, stacks Conqueror, gets the Q off on Kazi. Kazi flashes the next Q, of course. So already now, like, he has less HP, right? He has about 300 HP gone. He also burned Flash, he also burned Heal. So this is with the help of Wunder. To talk about how Qiyana can one-shot Aphelios, it's a bit... disingenuous. It's very disingenuous. So with this being said, I think we continue. We continue. And then now, this was a Senna auto. Honestly, the best performance of this fight, I think, was how Caps and Wunder played. Perks played super good too, but his ult was very bad. And I think the only reason what Perks did worked was because Braum was trolling. Braum was trolling big time. So let's take a look at this. Humanoid. I don't know what he's doing here. It's quite troll. But he gets a shutdown, I guess. I thought the idea and plan of his would be to just look to ult the Elise. But he panic ults and gets a Qiyana. And we have this fight again. What a thing of beauty, man. Okay, so Perks ult, disaster. Shadow got caught. Ornult doesn't get used for anything. I think Braum needs to just mark Qiyana. And then Mordekaiser refused to ult a target. Here, as G2 are stepping forward, they land the Q. Kaiser kind of panic reacts. He's in a worse position here. Fiora is not a good champion, and Kled Aatrox matchup is definitely playable. Set is not available on the stage, so Set will be available next week, I believe. Okay. So this happened. Cool. Then the Q here from Wundo is beautiful. Forcing Kazi, double summoner. It's a very big deal. And the Caps is just chipping away this entire time. There's no threat at all. We also need to pay attention to what Lee Sin is actually doing. What did Lee Sin do this fight? He's just running around like a buffoon. And Mad Lions need to just be coordinated in their effort when it came to, you know, denial here. And also here Shadow doesn't have Q or what? Because here I think he needs to commit on to Kiana. He Qs onto Aatrox instead, and this Lee Sin is just useless. I think Mad Lions need to be way more coordinated in their efforts. They burned their ults for nothing, and G2 executes it way better. We continue. Nash now. Now Senna is just too OP. Senna is monster fed. Senna is way too busted now. Senna is just gonna kill everybody, man. That is one. Soon there's two. Kazi has no flash, but yeah, this is very unlucky. Kazi gets touched by the Kiana ult. Okay. Yeah, if you're not a good champ, it just isn't. Well, your solo queue experience of Fiora getting ahead and then 1v9ing is not the same in competitive. It is not the same. Fiora being good in the matchup has nothing to do. Like your solo queue experience is completely irrelevant to the power of Fiora. You could see Khan trying to pull off Fiora and it just didn't work. Split pushing now is... it's too slow. The objectives are too powerful and you'll end up team fighting anyway, and Fiora is god awful in those. Aatrox is better, Ornn is better. Ornn is much better. Okay. So what the hell was Mickey doing here? Whatever, doesn't matter too much. Kinda want to move on to the next game. There's a big chance Mad Lions still make playoffs. There's a lot of shitty teams in Europe. Let's be honest. A lot of bad teams right now. Like any team that's not Origin. Like if I made the power ranking. If we made the power ranking, it would be, you know, Origin, like G2 first, Origin second, Rogue third, Fnatic fourth, fifth, like Excel, and then everyone else. 0-2 FPX says everything. And you place SK dead last. Yeah, well, who fucking cares? G2 troll drafted this game and they got away with it because they are much better. So it tells us very little about Mad Lions, honestly. Look at Caps go. Very nice. What's the software you're using, please? This is YouTube. We have 2 spots for 6 teams. Oh, Excel and Mad Lions, I think. What do you think about the performance of Forgiven and Comp in the 2 games? I think they were giga clean. This is epic pen. The meta right now is very good for Fiora. No, it's not. So you're just saying good and bad, and you are providing no contextual, analysis. Right now we have a very, very teamfight centering meta with a lot of objectives. Fiora will not be able to take the Nexus on her own. Split pushes are very, very undervalued. And one of the best top laners in the world tried to force it together with a team that knows how to play for a top lane better than anyone, and didn't work. Well, matchups are not the only thing. It's not a 1v1 tournament. Fiora can be good in 1v1, but it has nothing to do with the meta of the game. Mr. Previously, all the evidence points against you. Do you think Milica will be a huge boost for Vitality? No. Really not. Mr. Previously, it's time to let go, man. Okay.